Hi, I'm Freddie Sheridan. I set up the YCODE. Our family business has been designing retail stores for a long time, and a lot of what we do is in the beauty industry. Before we design the stores, we have a really in-depth strategy process that we go through, which is a big part about research, getting to know the brand, all about the products, and it basically creates like a kind of more scientific approach to designing stores before we even start to think about the way it looks and feels. And as we were doing that about 5 or 6 years ago, we kept coming back to this big opportunity in the men's skincare market. It's been flagged as one of the biggest growth potential markets for a long time. Essentially, we discovered lots of different things. I think one of the biggest parts at the time was the fact that men weren't quite ready for these products. We found that a lot of the men's products that were available on the market were probably designed for women, but then packaged for men. So no one was going through that process of thinking what men need from scratch and then redesign the proposition, around that. We know that men have different skin to women. We lose collagen a lot earlier. We also have different pH levels in our skin. We definitely know our skin is different, but the other thing is that we have different requirements. We have different concerns to women. We feel insecure about different things. And the other thing is that we want quite different outcomes to women as well. So let's say, for instance, we're designing an eye cream for a woman. They might want quite a kind of brightening effect, whereas men tend to want something that's a lot more subtle and natural. We need to make sure it really does the job that it's designed to do, but it creates an incredibly natural outcome. So obvious reasons that it's worth using a men's product versus, stealing off your other half, as a lot of us do. The other thing that's a massive difference that a lot of people don't realize is that men's skin kind of has these 3 different regions, whereas women's skin is quite consistent all over their face. So men obviously have facial hair at the bottom. We also kind of struggle with lots of kind of issues with our forehead. You might have shininess to your skin. You might be, experiencing some form of hair loss. So what that means is basically that middle section of our faces is incredibly important. Essentially, if you can get the eyes right, then you're in a really good place. That's why we started with an eye product. Not only is it men's biggest concern that they search for every day on the internet, what do I do about my dark circles and inflammation around my eyes? The other thing about men is that we all have different concerns at different ages. Actually, we have really clear ages in which men tend to, really feel the signs of aging. Our message with skincare is basically that you can't get into it too early. The earlier you get into it, the more benefits you're likely to see. Over the last 5 years, we've essentially been designing the whole proposition from scratch, everything from the way the product works, right down to the packaging, the way you interact with it. And we knew that we needed to create something from scratch that really catered to men's skin. I think a big part of the challenge is about reframing the way that men think about skincare products. What we want them to see is that it's essentially an extension of wellness in general. So if you're doing loads of work on your nutrition, your fitness, why then would you not want to do that last piece of the puzzle that essentially makes so much of a difference from how all that hard work is paying off? So the analogy that we always use is that it's a bit like designing this really, really beautiful car. So you go on the inside, you do the engine, all the best parts, all the best materials, gorgeous leather seats, the gorgeous wooden finishes and all the varnishings and everything like that. But when it comes to the outside, you just leave it completely blank. And I'm not just talking about not spraying it or, not finishing the edges and all that kind of stuff. Why would you do so much for the inside and then leave the outside completely as it is? So if you see skincare like that as being an extension of your wellness regime, it's one of the parts that is actually easiest to do and takes the least energy, but also because it's about the outside, your appearance, often makes the biggest difference. I think another thing that we wanted to approach when really thinking about making this, as effective as it could be for men, was really getting to the bottom and being realistic of the fact that men often don't like situations in which they have to take a long time to see a result. So when I say to the average guy, okay, look, use this 3 times a day for 6 weeks, and then you'll see some results finally, they're just like, they switch off. So we wanted to create a product that had an instant impact. When I was a kid, I really struggled with social anxiety. I used to hate putting my hands up in class and talking in front of lots of people and all that kind of stuff. But, To some extent I still do, but I've been lucky enough to work with a life coach and also take things like my health and fitness and wellness really seriously, and I've seen really great results. It's really important that people do remember that this product comes from those foundations of really wanting to help improve their confidence and make sure that they go out into the world every day feeling their best.